Welcome inside the School of Communications here at Quinnipiac University. I am Assistant Professor Nick Petroskevich, and this is the latest episode of What's Your Story? I am so thrilled to welcome in sports and lifestyle content creator for ESPN, Katie Feeney. Katie, thanks for doing this.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining. I'm so excited to talk to everyone. Just spoke to some girls about the world of sports and media, and excited to continue the conversation.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to ask a couple of questions, but then I'm going to turn over the mic to all of these people who are here. So you came here from LA over the weekend.
Yes.
Like, walk me through a month. How much have you seen the actual inside of your apartment in New York City?
In the fall, I was at my apartment 2 or 3 days maximum during the week, but I was traveling Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday most weeks. Now I actually, I've gotten to spend a lot more time in the city, which has been nice. Okay. It's helpful that there's a lot of sporting events in New York as well. So to what I would have had to travel for, and now I get to stay pretty often, but it's about to amp up. I was in LA for the week for the Fanatics flag football game, which was such a cool experience. I never thought I'd be that close to Tom Brady.
Okay. Does he look real, or is it not like it's a hologram?
He does kind of look like a hologram.
Okay. All right.
And then I'm heading on to do some March Madness stuff, the McDonald's All-American game, and then just going to keep going. Okay.
So I'm going to ask this question. You're not allowed to ask me the question back.
Okay.
How's your bracket doing?
I had Florida going pretty far, so not great.
We have a pool in the School of Communications. Beat Professor Petroskevich. I am in big trouble around here. But there's a lot of time left. I have my Final Four left. I have my title team left.
Who do you have winning it all?
I have Arizona.
Me too.
All right, so we're in good. We still have a chance. I have all my Final Four teams. Iowa State, thankfully, is still alive, whereas Florida,
Yeah, well, when I was making my bracket, Richard Jefferson, I did this collaboration with Reese's, and he was a part of it as well, and he went to Arizona. If you guys don't know who Richard Jefferson is, he was looking over my shoulder the entire time I was making the bracket. I was going to have Duke winning it all, but then I had some good inside scoop from everyone, and they told me Arizona.
Yeah, we have two rules around here. Is one, you can't side with Duke, and I do make fun of Mets fans quite a bit because I grew up in Pennsylvania and I'm a Phillies fan, so I make fun of Mets fans a lot. You're not a Mets fan, right?
I'm not a Mets fan, but I'm not a big Philadelphia sports fan. I'm from the D.C. area.
I waited till you've been here for a couple hours before
tell me you were an Eagles fan.
I'm not an Eagles fan.
Okay, great.
It makes no sense. I'm a Phillies fan, but I'm not an Eagles fan. I am a Packers fan.
Great, we're fine then.
All right, we're good. We can continue. So 2 weeks ago, right before Selection Sunday, Joe Lunardi, the bracketologist, sat in that chair. And we talked about him being the pioneer of bracketology. Like, it didn't exist before Joe Lunardi decided, let me put 64, then 68 teams on a line and predict the tournament. You're similar in that way, that this genre or this space didn't exist before you started it. How does that make you feel?
It's a huge honor. It's kind of crazy that 5 years ago, what I'm doing didn't really exist yet. I was the first social media correspondent for the NFL, which at the time, social media correspondent, I had no idea what that even meant. Now you hear that term a lot, but to be one of the first and now inspire so many other people, that's what this is all about.
This wasn't the initial plan, because there couldn't have been. It didn't exist.
Yeah.
What was the initial plan?
I wanted to be a physical therapist, so then quarantine was my junior year of high school. I took AP Bio my junior year and absolutely loved science, so I thought I would do something in the medical space or the science space. My dad's a lawyer. I thought maybe I'd be a lawyer, but no, once I started posting on social media, I thought maybe I could do something in marketing. I started my own business, my own LLC at 18, so I thought I could learn more about the business side of everything. And then I got into sports once I got to Penn State and fell in love with it. The world of sports is so exciting. Every day is different, and what's not to love?
Was there ever any fear when you abandoned what you originally thought you were going to do, whether it was traditional broadcast or whether it was physical therapy? Was there ever any fear, like, am I doing the right thing here?
I think the fear of the unknown it's always there, but I would say I was more excited to kind of be a pioneer in this space. I think the fun part is that what works now might not work in 5 years, and I think I've learned that you constantly have to reinvent yourself in this space, whether it's in sports or in social media or really any job on the creative side. As things change, so do you. I mean, ESPN, they kind of took a chance on me, right? Like they didn't know what I would do, hiring me, and I think now like eventually more networks will start doing something similar. But again, like we've been working it out as we go, which is exciting.
So I spent 14 years at ESPN, and I have two distinct memories. I told Katie earlier the Jerry Rice story of my wife being annoyed that Jerry Rice had cut her in line to get a salad at ESPN. The other one was the second or third day I was there, I'm in the fourth floor of Building 4, and I swear to God I hear a marching band. And I'm like, this makes no sense. There cannot be a marching band in the building. And I'm not going to ask because it's my second or third day. And finally I said, does anybody else hear that? And they're like, yeah, it's the Yale Marching Band for This Is SportsCenter commercial. Do you have a, oh my God, this is ESPN moment in your brief time there so far?
Sitting in the original, or at the original SportsCenter set, that was very, very cool. I mean, not that I would watch the original SportsCenter growing up, but I always remembered watching with my dad and my brothers. I have two older brothers. I think that's probably why I'm in the sports space. And my dad, I was always the little sister trying to do whatever they were doing. Mm-hmm. So I'd say that was probably wow, this is really cool moment. But the ESPN, like, it's literally like a college campus. It's huge. Bristol is awesome. The cafeteria is really great as well. Mm-hmm. But I do love being there. It's fun.
I will say I'm not sure I've heard too many people say Bristol is awesome, though. So that might be a first. The cafeteria is, the running joke always has been, the only thing it's missing is a wine list. So do you remember when this started to take off? Like when you first saw a post that exploded and said, ooh, we might be onto something here?
I feel like I've had a lot of different phases in my career. I would say my biggest growth period was over quarantine, but I also wasn't in the sports space yet. Social media was also just, it was a different time then. Not many people were doing it. I was talking to some girls earlier about this, but like, it was not cool. What I was doing was not looked at as cool. I got made fun of a lot. Honestly, I'm very happy I did because I let it motivate me. But I would say like, from a career standpoint, I've seen it take off since I started working with Penn State football. Okay. Seeing how well my content did as someone just documenting the behind the scenes on the sideline was a very cool moment because I saw that there was a hole in the space and that I could fill it. And I mean, from that point forward, like my freshman year at Penn State, I went to the Super Bowl for the first time. I've now been to 5 Super Bowls, which is absolutely insane. I went to my first Super Bowl at 19 years old. Like, never in a million years would I have imagined that. I went to 1 football game prior to working with the Commanders. One NFL game, and I was probably 7 years old. Like, I didn't grow up going to NFL games, MLB games, NHL games. It just wasn't a thing we did. Like, we'd watch on TV. Now I get to go to different games every other week, which is amazing. But I would say, like, once I started traveling to these events, I mean, I was at the Masters last year. That's a dream. Never in my lifetime would I have imagined that. So that's when I was like, okay, this is happening.
I did not tell her she had to mention the Masters. Like that happened organically. I did not mention it. I want to go back for a second though, because you said something interesting about that people made fun of you.
Yeah.
Like, how did you process that? How did you overcome it or ignore it to be able to continue forward as opposed to just kind of saying or succumbing to it?
Yeah, I mean, at one point I definitely did let it get to me. I stopped for a little bit in high school, and then I had an epiphany. Why am I letting anyone's opinion get to me, right? Like, I'm passionate about this. I believe in myself. I believe that it could go somewhere. So why am I letting any outside noise get to me? There's always outside noise. In anything you do in life, people will always have something to say, but no one is as concerned with you as you think they are. Like, as long as you love it and you have a core group of people, I realize that's all that really matters. And I let it drive me. And you know, it's cringy until it's not. Once you see success, once someone else sees success, then it's not cringy anymore. But you have to get there, right? Even if like success isn't necessarily what you're looking to reach, you just genuinely love creating content or being creative or doing something that's a little bit out of the ordinary. Just do it because you love it, and don't pay attention to any negativity.
What happens when you get an email from the White House?
Yeah, that was crazy. I think it was my sophomore year at Penn State, but I had gotten an email and I saw that at the bottom it was like the White House. I was like, this is a joke. Like, someone's pranking me right now. And no, it was real. It's like a student media group, a bunch of Villanova students, they were a part of it, and they wanted me to go and create content. So I went to the holiday decorating. And yeah, walking into the White House, that was another thing I never would have thought I would do. A lot of things I've done so far are very surreal, very fortunate to have gotten these opportunities. But again, like, I think when you work hard, people take notice. And I mean, I feel like I tell everyone this, but like, you have to do stuff when you're not being asked. You can't wait for permission. You can't wait for someone to tell you exactly what to do or how to do it. You have to do it on your own first, and then people will take notice. And once they see the portfolio you've built for yourself, then maybe they'll want you to do it for them as well. I
tell my classes this pretty regularly, is you never know when that moment is going to arrive, when it's the moment that's going to change your life. I never expected to do this, to be a professor. And I was speaking at a event, and I got done, and a professor came up to me and said, "Do you want to bleep and teach, Professor Hanley?" And I said, "Sure." And I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe this is the next chapter." It's okay to be scared by that moment, but you have to embrace it too, right?
Absolutely.
Like, so how do you do that? Because you had a lot happen really fast.
Yeah, I think it's important to remember why you're there. And I mean, I've walked into a lot of rooms with people that I would never expect to be in a room with, but remembering that I'm there for a reason and that I'm providing value and embracing that. Because I think, imposter syndrome, it's very real sometimes. Oftentimes you'll walk into spaces where maybe you don't feel like you belong. You do. You absolutely do. And then use it. Make connections, meet people. Being a good person will take you farther in life than anything else. People want to be surrounded by good people, people they can trust, and a lot of working in this space or in other spaces, you want to work with people you enjoy being around. Like, create those connections, network, and chances are someone will want to do something for you because they believe in you or they know that, I don't know, you're kind and you provide value in that way.
Do you remember, or how did you handle when everybody starts coming to you? Because all of a sudden, companies or the White House, or you're the first social media correspondent for the NFL. How do you control or organize yourself or handle all of that happening?
Yeah, it got to a point where I definitely needed help. I have management, and then on top of management, I also have an agency. The agency CAA, they represent a lot of athletes, broadcast talent. They do a lot in the space of sports. So I'm signed with CAA Sports, and they helped me with the ESPN of it all. But I think, like, you can't be afraid to ask for help. And you can't always do it all by yourself. I mean, as much as I would love to be a one-man show, I definitely cannot do that. And now, like, what's great about working at ESPN is there's people that help me on the production side. Like, I'm going to College Game Day, I'm posting 10 to 12 videos as I'm there. So if you follow me, just be prepared for football season. I post an absurd amount, but it's because there's people back at Bristol that are helping edit the content, helping me come up with ideas. So now I feel like I have a good system, but it started with just me and my phone and some mini mics.
Walk us through the strategy that you take into each day of what content you might be targeting, and what goes into a post. And by the way, at any point you can say, "Listen, old man, I will explain this to you slowly. I will not take offense." But like, walk us through the strategy. What skills?
Yeah, I would say being prepared is always the most important thing. You want to feel prepared in anything, whether it's more traditional broadcasting or if it's something on the back end or if it's in the content space, you want to feel prepared. So I do whatever research I have to do going into whatever. Even like, look, I focus a lot on the lifestyle and storytelling aspect, but just as much preparation needs to go into that as it does if I was an analyst, maybe a little less. I'm not Stephen A. Smith. Yeah, coming in with 3 ideas that I definitely want to hit. So then I get those and I feel like I have a goal I want to reach. And then the best moments from anything are the ones that happen in the moment, very candid, whether that's something that happens in the game. I would say the biggest strategy I've learned is posting in real time. The window of relevancy for sporting events is pretty small. I would say, like, if I'm going to a game that's on a Saturday, by Monday the content, it's not as relevant anymore. It's not going to get the same engagement. So I work very, very hard on the weekend so that when I do get to just decompose and relax, decompress, not decomposing.
I was going to let you keep going with that one.
So when I decompress during the week, I can kind of take my mind off of it. But yeah, the relevancy, consistency. I'm a quantity poster. Some people are quality posters, but I post a lot, and that seems to work for me.
I tell my classes, especially when we talk about storytelling, is most people have seen the game.
Yes.
They know the results. Take me somewhere I can't go myself because you have the
Exactly.
access. Is that how you sort of approach what you're doing?
Absolutely. Access is everything. I mean, for me, like, I was at the Fanatics Flag Football Classic this past weekend, and I was well aware that I was one of the few people there that had that access. So what I'm able to create, no one else has seen it yet. Like, I have a video of Logan Paul and Gronk fighting, and because I think I was one of maybe 2 people that got that video, it has 10 million views on just Instagram. But it's because it's not being seen. But then, like, I had a friend that's from Maryland, and she was shooting social for Fox, and she's getting a lot of these moments as well. And she's just getting started in this space, and she's still a student at UCLA. So I think, like, taking opportunities as interns, or, you know, if you get the chance to do something, maybe it's not even the sport you want to do, but if you're able to get access is everything. Even if it's just going to a game on behalf of yourself and you're able to capture a moment that no one else has, that's content. That's something that people haven't seen, and therefore it'll get engagement.
How do you approach the engagement? How do you approach the metrics? Are you a prisoner to the numbers? Do you, like, look? I remember when I was at ESPN, I was like, all right, so time spent and page views, and I would get carried away with it. How do you handle it?
I definitely look at engagement. I think it's important to look at and to be aware of how stuff is doing. But I think when you get too caught up in it, it's can mess up your mind a little bit. I mean, I think with how algorithms change now, I try to look at the general overview of how my stuff is doing versus a single post, because sometimes it's completely out of your control. I know it's a good video. Sometimes the stuff I put the most time into, the most planning, sometimes it just doesn't do the best, and a 5-second clip of something completely irrelevant to what I'm even at does better. So it's hard to measure, but I would say watch time is the thing I pay the most attention to.
Okay.
How long are people watching my videos before they scroll away? I mean, you always have to put yourself in the mind of the viewer. What is causing them to stay? What's causing them to leave? And I think that's the most important analytic.
Have you had a starstruck moment?
Oh, I've had a lot of starstruck moments. I would say, I mean, probably my biggest starstruck moment is documented. It's I think I pinned it on my, like, Instagram reels, probably when I met Tom Brady for the first time.
Okay.
But I embarrassed myself. I literally, like, I couldn't speak. I was like, "You're a legend," and of course it gets like 27 million views and blew up everywhere. So I have yet to redeem myself. I thought maybe I would get to interview him this time, but it's coming. I will redeem myself. But no, I have starstruck moments all the time. But, like, you realize, and I was saying this earlier, but, like, you just have to humanize everyone, because at the end of the day, and, like, now that I've gotten to see, I guess, NFL players or, you know, these athletes just in their natural environment, they're just people. And so when you approach them as a person, you're going to get more out of them, and it just creates a more welcoming environment.
Sure. You ready to hear from them?
I am.
All right, let's do it. What do we think? Name, year, and major?
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right. And I guess if anybody's from Maryland, you should tell her.
Yeah, if anyone's from Maryland, please. I love my Marylanders. Yeah. Oh, are we doing a mic?
Yeah, we're going to do a mic so
okay,
that...
sorry.
It's all right.
Hi, my name's...
It's on. You
It's
just...
on? Okay.
You gotta still be loud.
Hi, my name's Tommy. I'm a 3+1 film major. My question was, how did you get your foot in the door when you were videoing for the Commanders while still attending Penn State? Like, how did that work, videoing on Saturday, then going to games on Sunday?
That's a great question, Tommy. I mean, it was helpful because Penn State was a 3-hour drive from home. So I would go to the game Saturday. If it was a night game, sometimes I would go overnight. Definitely, like, I would say the biggest sacrifice I made at Penn State was my social life. And I mean, looking back, honestly, like, I'm very fortunate for everything I worked while I was in college. I do think, like, it's important to prioritize just life and being able to spend time with friends. But yeah, I just, like, I wouldn't go out after a football game really, or like the social aspect I just lacked in a little bit because I was traveling a lot. I mean, I definitely, like, my junior year, halfway through, I switched my classes to online. So that was very helpful for me because senior year I was pretty much traveling twice a month. And it got to the point where, like, I was a broadcast major, so it was tough because for broadcast you have to be in class, and Penn State had a world campus, so I was able to still live on campus and graduate with everyone. So I was fortunate in that way. But yeah, definitely a lot of travel. It wasn't easy to balance, but I mean, I grew up playing. I mean, I danced and I did track and field, so I was used to being at school from 7 a.m. until like 9 p.m. I'm like, if I did it then, I can do it now.
And was that through the LLC program? How you, like, worked for the Commanders? Yes.
So the Commanders, that was through, because I had built a social media platform. They had reached out, and it was a partnership for about a year, and then I stayed in close contact with them and would continue going to games for the next few years I was in college, and now I get to go to games, but on behalf of ESPN. So a very cool full circle moment.
Sweet.
Right.
Thank you so much.
Right in front
Yeah,
of you
of
to Emma.
Hi, I'm Emma. I am a first-year sports comm major. My question for you is, what internships, like, really helped you with, like, where you are now?
It's a good question. Hi, Emma. I met you earlier. Penn State football. I would say that was my first just opportunity to do anything in sports, but I think getting involved with your university is the best thing you can do, and using that as a tool, because look, like, the people you meet here, I mean, sitting next to me, like, there's so many people here that get to know your professors, get to know your peers, because down the line, these are the people that you want to create the connections with that will help you out in the future. So I would say, like, whether it's an internship with your football program or hockey or baseball, whatever sport it is, athletics, maybe it's a sport that you don't even like, but sometimes you have to start in spaces that maybe it's not quite where you want to be, but just to build those connections and get some experience.
Kaylin?
I'm Kaylin. I'm a sophomore sports comm major. Who or what was your biggest inspiration that, like, motivated you to keep going within sports?
That's a great question. I would say, like, growing up, Erin Andrews was always a huge inspiration to me. Originally, I thought I would want to do more traditional broadcasting once I started in sports. I remember my freshman year, I had a FaceTime call with Erin Dolan, and she's at ESPN, if you guys are familiar with her. And she also went to Penn State, and so I got connected with her, and she's like, look, you're at the forefront of this world of sports and social media. Take advantage of that. That was the best advice I ever got, because had she not said that, maybe I would have continued down the more traditional space. I love what Kay Adams does. I see myself doing something down the line that's similar to her. I think she is able to build really great relationships with everyone she speaks to, and that shows, and it's a more fun, lighthearted side. So, I mean, yeah, I would say Jenny Taft as well. On the college football side, she's incredible. I think the biggest thing that stood out to me in this space is how willing people are to help me navigate it, especially if you're, like, a woman in sports. I would say that there's a lot of other women that are very willing to help out and also just provide support.
Keep going this way.
Hi, I'm Ashley. I'm a senior communications major. Working in social media, it's very unpredictable with, like, the job hours and everything. You're at your apartment 2 to 3 times a week.
Yeah.
How do you prioritize your work-life balance?
That's a great question. That's something that I would say up until this year, I don't know that I had a great work-life balance. I would say I always kind of prioritized school and work and the life part. I just I didn't prioritize as much, just like spending time with my friends and family. Now I would say that's a huge priority for me, because ultimately working in sports or just work in general, it's a marathon and not a sprint. I would say you gain so much out of just life experiences. So now I don't say no to dinners with my friends because I want to take a little bit more time editing a video. Like, no, I go to dinner. I have real life experiences. I prioritize being able to go home here and there and spend time with my family, because that at the end of the day it's everything. And then no matter what, like, you're growing as a person in every aspect of your life, and then you can take that into work as well.
Right behind you, we'll go there too, and then we'll go this way. Oh, yeah, maybe we'll talk to Luke. I haven't decided yet.
Hi, I'm Samantha. I'm a senior majoring in public relations and journalism. As a senior about to graduate in 2 months, what's some advice that you have for someone that wants to go into content creation and digital marketing in sports but doesn't really know where to start or who to contact?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say first, make sure you're doing it on your own. Start now building whatever it is that you want to present to someone, because chances are, I'd say LinkedIn is a really great tool in reaching out to people. But they'll search you on whatever it is and see what you're already doing. And yeah, I would say don't wait for permission. Don't wait until you get into contact with whoever it is, because if you already have something set up and you can show them what you were able to build yourself, imagine what you can now do for them. But I would say, yeah, LinkedIn, honestly, even using Instagram DM as a tool. A lot of people have reached out to me. I have reached out to companies and brands. And from a content creation standpoint, a lot of brands are looking for micro influencers or smaller creators because they value that engagement. Sometimes smaller communities can do just as much, if not more, than big communities. So yeah, take advantage of just using what you can do on your own, and then someone, a brand, a company will see it and fall in love with you.
Benjamin?
Hi, my name is Benjamin. I'm a first-year sports communications student. My question is, do you ever feel creatively drained? And if you do, how do you overcome that?
Yeah, I would say, traveling a lot can definitely be draining at times, but I would say making sure I prioritize my mental health, whether that's, for me, fitness is really big in my life. I always try to get some sort of physical activity in, even if it's just going on walks, but just giving myself grace. Yes, I can work a million hours because I'm able to do that, but I also know maybe I should get an extra hour of sleep here and there. That's just as important. It's important to definitely space things out at times. I used to be in the mindset of if I don't post 3 times a day, every day on every single platform, then I'm not going to succeed. Which now, if I go a day without posting, it's not the end of the world. Everyone will be just fine. I can pick it back up in 2 days and things will be just as they were.
Let's go up here.
Hi, I'm Jack, journalism major, second year. How do you obviously everything's not perfect all the time.
Yeah.
How do you work through failure and use that to help you fuel success?
It's a great question. Yeah, videos flop all the time. I have viral videos. I also have videos that get minimal views. I try not to spend too much time looking at anything, but yes, it's good to see what doesn't work, because maybe I shouldn't keep doing that, but I feel a lot of it, I think the biggest struggle with social media in general is you have to stay relevant. You have to bring something new to the table. You constantly have to reinvent yourself, which at times can be challenging. I think the beauty of sports is there's always something new going on, and if you're one of the first to report it, then chances are you're going to see success. I would say I now know if something doesn't do well, I'm going to go to something next week and I can do it all over and something will. So like not dwelling on anything. I think I used to struggle with that a little bit more because it can be discouraging when you spend so much time on something and then it goes nowhere and you know it's good, and it is. But sometimes just the right people don't see it and it doesn't get pushed in the algorithm. But in general, like, yeah, when you're the first to do anything, you will see success.
So it's Luke. You might need to give him some travel tips. My man could not get himself out of Chicago this week.
Chicago's the worst airport in the world, might I say.
Oh
that.
yeah, I mean the TSA I heard was insane.
3 hours.
3 hours. It's not Luke's fault.
Wade, yes it is. Yes it is.
My question, I'm a first year sports comm student. You said that you're a quantity poster and
Yeah.
that I'm assuming you post on all different platforms.
Yeah.
Are there certain posts that you'll post on Instagram but you won't post on other platforms?
Yes, that's a good question. So I would say one of the ways I've differentiated myself, and I think why I've been able to get a lot of the opportunities, is because I am on every platform. I post on TikTok, I post on YouTube Shorts, I post on Snapchat, I post on Snapchat Spotlight, and I post on Instagram. I would say I repurpose one video across all platforms 90% of the time. Instagram I'm a little bit more particular about. Like TikTok, I don't really care as much. Like I think like TikTok is a little bit more unfiltered. I would say YouTube, I consistently post what I post everywhere else. Snapchat is where I differentiate myself the most because it's more about what I do in my day-to-day and where people can get to know me on a personal aspect, which I don't show as much on my other platforms. And then I would say Instagram, I put my best work out there, just because I would say that's where I don't want to maybe completely take up everyone's feed because I do post a lot, but I would say I'm pretty consistent on everything. I would say Snapchat is the most different versus any other platform.
Back in the upper deck.
Hi, my name's Bella. I'm a third-year sports communications major from Maryland. My question is, if you had one song to kind of describe your career journey so far, what would it be and why?
That's a great song. That's a great question. I think because the Hannah Montana 20th anniversary is out today, I would say my whole life has felt like the best of both worlds. I would say I'm a very normal person and I live a very extraordinary life, but at the end of the day, like I'm just like everyone else. I'm in a position that I never would have expected to be in. I get to do things that I never would have dreamed of, but I also like people meet me and they usually like say I'm much more normal than they thought, which I don't know if that's a compliment or not. Seems a little bit backhanded, but yeah, maybe like best of both worlds.
Okay, go ahead. Sorry, Maria.
Hi, I'm Maria, an advertising major, and the four of us here, we recently refounded the Association for Women in Sports Media at Quinnipiac, so we're fairly new. We were wondering what type of content we should be posting to like get more outreach, and what was successful for you personally when you were starting to grow as well.
I love that. We had a really great group at Penn State as well that a lot of my friends did. It's a great question. I mean, I would say like I actually just learned that this is an official NBA account, but they do this thing with like, they bring in NBA players, and I mean, this is just like, I don't know, you guys can do this or not, but they bring a whiteboard and they do rankings or just very lighthearted and fun. I'll have to find the account and figure out a way to send it to you. But I think like doing something interactive, whether it's, teaching people the basics of a sport, but like having like a visual with a whiteboard or like cutouts of pictures and using each other, like kind of like creating skits. I've seen stuff like that do really well recently. When you have a group of individuals, it could be something really fun. Especially like using March Madness. I don't know. The account has done stuff about like does the shortest player in the NBA have anything to do with like their percentile and X, and I don't know. They do all this like fun stuff that has nothing to do with the actual sport, but like fun skits like that.
I see them laughing back there because they
know what I'm talking about?
No, they're laughing because I don't allow height conversations in this program. Like we try to avoid those. All right, Claire, back here, and then we got to move to this side of the room because I always forget this side. Now I've locked in over here. Go ahead, Claire.
Hi, I'm Claire. I'm a second-year journalism major, and I was kind of just wondering, throughout your whole journey, what have you really learned about yourself?
It's a great question. Oh, we're getting deep. Okay, what have I learned about myself? I've learned that I really do enjoy being busy, as much as sometimes like it can feel like a lot. When I have too much time where I don't feel like I'm doing something insane, that's when I get more stressed if I'm not stressed. Like I kind of enjoy being stressed. I don't know if that's crazy. Like I don't know. I think it's something, I think a lot of people working in sports can probably relate when you work crazy hours sometimes, but there's something like so enjoyable about it, because then the second like you have time to chill after football, after the Super Bowl, I maybe had a couple weeks where like I didn't really have much going on. I didn't know what to do with myself. I'm like, I need to be, I'm itching for something. So maybe that just like comes with being a workaholic or a driven person, but I've learned that I enjoy the chaos. I really do.
Behind you for one, and then you had your hand up, right? And then so Eli, do be helpful for once and grab that microphone, will you? Thanks, appreciate you.
Hi, I'm Ryan. I'm a first-year advertising major, and with being the first in to do social media and be a social media coordinator, has anyone ever undermined your work? And how do you deal with people undermining your work and the videos you're creating?
Absolutely. I think it's so new where, I feel like everyone in this room probably has a better understanding of the world we now live in with social media. It very much it's important. Brands use social media. The biggest execs are on social media. Like, it's not going anywhere. But when I started, it definitely was not as prevalent. The very first Commanders game I worked, I was 1,000% the youngest person on the field and probably the only person with my iPhone. The security tried to kick me off the field because my vest, it said I could have a camera, but my camera was that's on my phone. I don't know where my phone is. My camera was my phone. So I think it all comes with anything new, people just don't have enough information on it, or they don't know enough yet. So I think even with me starting at ESPN, I think people definitely were unsure about what I would be doing. I didn't know exactly what I would be doing either, but now that people have seen and they know I'm very much on the social side, sometimes I get some TV time, but I'm not here to replace anyone's job. I think that's a misconception. I'm taking someone else's role. No, I'm enhancing what ESPN already does best. I'm enhancing what traditional media does best. I'm complementing it. People aren't not watching the Super Bowl because I'm there, but they maybe are watching my videos because it adds a new perspective to what they can watch on TV.
Go ahead.
Hi, so I'm Brooke. I'm in the journalism master's program for broadcast. I've followed you for years, but my main question was, obviously this is a very competitive industry right now, but how did you get started with growing your following? Did you have a contact from somewhere that someone helped you get your videos out there, or did you have one viral video that managed to really grow your following? Because I know you have a huge following now, but when you first started, obviously it's very, very competitive now.
No, I think a lot of people see what I'm doing now and have no idea that I started 10 years ago. Coming up on 11 years, I started posting on social media. I was in middle school. Don't know who let me do that, but no, I never took any shortcuts. I've always been very G-rated, very family friendly. I have never said a curse word online. Everything I do, my friends call me Disney Channel. They think it's funny, or I'm a Disney princess, because online I portray myself like that. Not that it's different from who I am in real life, but I definitely am very conscious of everything I put out there. I also started at a time where my teachers were watching me, my neighbors were watching me, my family was watching me. I'm very happy that I went about my growth the way I did, because it took me much longer to get the following I did. It's very easy to take shortcuts, but when you are applying for jobs, they're looking at your social media. To have a clean social media, I don't think people even have, I think people don't realize how serious it is because it is something that people look at. But no, I would say like my biggest growth was quarantine, but I posted a lot. I would say consistency, every day posting, even when I wasn't seeing any views, and then ultimately like something will gain momentum, and the second it does, you have to go 110%.
All right, can we try to get the mic on the other side of the room here? Can make one stop along the way.
Hi, I'm Braden. I'm a first-year sports comm major. So obviously you're on social media a lot, but how often are you scrolling on your For You page to see what other people are doing?
That's a really great question. I am not a big scroller unless I'm looking for inspiration. Like I never know what my friends are up to or really what anyone's up to. Like because I'm on my phone so much for work, I don't like doom scrolling, but then I also realize I need to pay attention to the trends, what's doing well. I feel like now I've put more of a focus on doing stuff that's original and posting original content. I think trends are great because they can get virality, which is good for reaching new eyes, but in terms of building a community, like I try to post content that provides some sort of value, whether it's educational or it's comedic or it's just showcasing the behind the scenes of something they're not seeing on TV. So I would say like I don't scroll that much unless I'm looking for inspiration.
Hi, my name's Camila. I'm a 3+1 public relations major, and I also am a micro influencer. I wanted to know, how do you get the confidence to just pull out your phone anywhere and like record in uncomfortable situations?
Yeah, I would say one of the biggest skills I've learned is how to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. I mean, growth only comes from being uncomfortable. And yeah, like, I think that there's a time and place. Like, I used to set up my phone and film at the airport, and then I realized, you know what, maybe that's just not necessary while people are walking and trying to do their thing. But yeah, I mean, I think like, if it makes you happy, then do it. People will always have something to say. It's cringy until it's not, right? So, you know, like maybe, I mean, if you're in class, maybe that's not the right time, but like if you're walking
it's not the right time. It's not.
If you're walking to class and you want to pull out your phone, like, I mean, it's, at Penn State, it wasn't, I mean, people are actually kind of doing it now. In New York, it's very normalized. Like, people are filming themselves all the time. Like, I would say I'm probably filming myself the least. But in certain settings, like if you are at a smaller university, then maybe it can feel a little awkward. But ultimately, like people, I would say also, what you think maybe is not content is content. People don't know what it's like to go to Quinnipiac University, right? Like maybe someone in Canada wants to know what it's like to go to school here, which I kind of had to get in that mindset, because when you get in the routine of doing something every day, you just think it's normal, and that everyone thinks it's normal, but it's fascinating to a lot of people. So just do your thing. No one cares that much.
Hi, my name's also Katie. I am a junior Mia Stays major in journalism minor. Obviously, you post a lot at a variety of different sporting events. It's not just football, and as you mentioned, preparation is very much key. But where you're doing so many sports, whether it's golf or it's hockey or let alone football, like how do you keep up with all of it? Because sports is huge.
I would say I'm not an expert in every single sport, but what I am trying to be an expert in is storytelling, and I hope to one day get to the point where I can confidently say that I am an expert in storytelling. That's the goal that I'm trying to reach. But I would say like what I look for is moments. I always look for unique moments, whether that is a story I want to tell or just something that makes that event unique. So I would say that's what I look into more, because I can't know every single sport and the analytics of all of it. It's impossible. But I think what makes me unique is that I am in all of these places. Like on Sunday NFL Countdown, I had a segment on the show where it was like, where's Katie in the NFL? But that's kind of how people look at me in general. They're like, where are you now? Like, the number one like comment I get is like, you're everywhere, which I think makes me stand out. But I'm not going to pretend to know every single aspect of the sports. I mean, I know enough. And I feel confident that I have a good knowledge of most sports. But I think also like my goal is to reach the casual fan and to be the voice of the fan. So does the casual fan know every single thing about hockey, baseball, basketball, golf, tennis? Probably not, but I think that there's parts of every sport that are similar, and that's what I try to showcase.
Directly behind you.
My name is Emily. I'm a third-year advertising and media studies double major. I was just wondering, you kind of just briefly touched on it there, but like you have a really strong personal brand. Have you ever felt like you've struggled kind of balancing your personal brand while you've also been getting yourself more into like the sports media space?
I would say my personal brand has shifted much more into the sports space as well. Like I think for me, it's very important that I have a work-life balance, and that's part of the reason why I wanted the structure of having a job after college that was separate from social media. I mean, my job is in social media, but like what I was building on my own, I could have continued to do. I mean, obviously the opportunity to be a part of the biggest stage in sports with the ESPN is the opportunity of a lifetime. But I like now that I'm able to, I work some crazy hours on the weekend, but then I'm able to turn it off during the week when I am home, and that's really important to me that I can have a personal life outside of my work life. And so my personal brand, like people see me and who I am as a person the most on Snapchat, as I was kind of saying. But I like that now my platform is primarily centered around sports. But I mean, I feel like people can get a pretty good glimpse of my personality through interviews and through conversations. I mean, yeah.
Hi, my name is Carly. I'm a junior 3+1 media studies major with a sports studies minor. I'm also a longtime follower as well. My question is kind of similar to Emily's here. How do you balance posting what you want versus what your audience expects from you now, touching into the sports world?
That's a good question. I would say like, I feel like I definitely take suggestions and I try to ask my audience what they want to see, but I feel like they've been following me because they like what I've been doing, and I try to always bring new things to the table as well. I think honestly, because I post so much, I don't even know that they're able to really ask, like, can you do this? Because I'm posting a lot, and somewhere in the mix, I'm probably doing something similar. But like, again, community building, that is more important than any amount of views, and I've learned that over time. Like, naturally, as this space becomes more saturated, I mean, before, like, views were 3 million views on a video was not that bizarre. Now it's like 100,000 views is the same as getting 4 million views. So I think like valuing, building that audience and creating a community that will come back to your page and like find something to look for. I mean, ultimately I want to start building out more series where they can expect stuff. I think that is the best thing you can do, especially when you're just starting out, is having something where I think familiarity is really important. People want to scroll and like if they recognize a certain font or a certain sound or a title, they're going to continue to come back and look for that, whether it's a weekly series or a daily series. So that's something I'm looking to do more in the future.
Thank you.
Down the end of the aisle here, right? Did you have your hand up?
Hi, my name is Ashley. I'm a 3+1 marketing major in sports studies and journalism minor. And my question was, what was some of the biggest takeaways you got from Penn State, and how have you used those experiences in your career now?
Sorry, it was a little
We're getting
loud.
a little noise behind us. If you get a little louder.
Yeah, what were some of the biggest takeaways from your time at Penn State, and how have you used those experiences to your career now?
My biggest takeaway from working in sports at Penn State, I learned what does well, at least from like the football standpoint. Like before, I would film on my phone the entire game, and then I realized I would really only use the touchdown celebrations or interactions from players that maybe were on the sideline or after a certain play. So I learned to find moments versus like not drain my storage just filming. Like I think I've become more particular in what I want to capture, but also like a lot of the stuff that did well when I was at Penn State were like showcasing what it's like to be a student at a game, or like maybe the food, or just different parts of the experience that people from the outside haven't experienced yet and want to know what it's like. So I learned, like, yes, the game, there's tons of content there, but there's so much just from walking around the concourse and talking to people. That's also like when I started to do the interview content as well, was towards the end of my experience at Penn State, and that man on the street stuff, that has been my favorite. So yeah, I love stuff like that. I mean, if you guys know Anna Fry, she became Anna Fry because of like interview content at her high school, which is kind of crazy. Because I mean, it was not some like huge name high school, it's just a high school, and people started to love the students that were a part of these interviews. So it's cool to, like, literally anyone can do this. It's just a matter of being consistent and finding the right moments.
Anybody else? We have some more. We have time for a couple more. We got to go all the way back to the other end of the row. Can you go get it?
Hi, my name is Josh. I'm a senior here at Quinnipiac, and I'm a media studies major. What is it like working with the companies that you will like post on their platforms with? Like, for example, with like Meta, they have like a sports partnership program where they work with creators. I know a few people who are in there, and they've been able to meet players, and they've been able to see a lot of like the behind the scenes of a certain sport that they cover. Like, what is that like?
Yeah, I've done a lot with the platforms. A lot of what I was doing prior to ESPN was going to events either on behalf of a team, a league, a platform. I went to the World Series with Meta, and I was posting on their broadcast channel for the MLB, that was one of the most nerve-wracking things I've done. I mean, I'm at the World Series and I am MLB, like posting on the broadcast channel. Yeah, I would say like the biggest takeaway from working with platforms, the access is incredible that they provide, and then the connections, everything, networking. That's the number one skill I learned at Penn State that I use with me to this day is networking. Introducing yourself to people. I mean, sometimes it can be a little uncomfortable to go up to someone and introduce yourself, but people will remember that. But yeah, a lot of platforms are now doing programs like that. I would say if you can ever get into some sort of internship or program, paid or unpaid. Honestly, some of my favorite opportunities have been unpaid when I was first starting out. So getting into space, getting access is everything in the world of sports.
Diagonally back to Amanda.
Hi, I'm Amanda. I'm a 3+1 journalism senior. I was just wondering, when you're talking to athletes all the time, how do you foster that connection where, you know, you kind of walk in and they recognize your face and they know your name and they get to a point where they have respect for you as they do with the other media?
Yeah, I mean, for me, that's always been the goal, is to build relationships so that now, next year when I'm doing interviews, or like some of the college guys are now in the NFL, they'll recognize me and they know that they can count on me to not ask anything that's out of hand or that sheds a bad light on them. So I think, yeah, connecting with people and making sure that I'm respectful and I go about the interview respectful. Like, yes, you're always trying to look for a viral moment. Sometimes it's not worth it if it means damaging a relationship with someone. Like, if someone doesn't want to talk about, I don't know, like, I feel like dating questions always do really well on social. Maybe they don't want to talk about that. And then, okay, that's not necessary. I'm not going to mention this person or like ask about their personal life if it means damaging a relationship. But yeah, it has been cool to see, like, even I interviewed Kyle Juszczyk and then his wife Kristen at the Super Bowl, and then I saw Kyle again at the Fanatics Flag Football Classic, and he made sure that I got time to interview him, which was really cool. And he remembered my name and was like, yeah, Katie, like, you can totally talk to me for 5 minutes. So now down the line, like, that'll probably happen with more people. Same with like Aiden Hutchinson, Jason Kelsey. I've gotten to like have 10 minutes with them through working at ESPN. And now when I go to other things, they make sure to carve out time for me.
Thanks.
The numbers are improving. We hope they continue to improve. But what advice do you have for women who want to work in sports?
Do it. Get started. It's still new, right? So we are, like, our generation, we are the future. And more roles are getting carved out for sports, whether it's social media, whether it's PR, whether, you don't have to be on camera. You can be behind the scenes. You can be on the production side. There's so many more opportunities. Yes, it might not look like what you grew up watching or what you grew up wanting to do, but if you can get your foot in the door in any aspect in sports, whether you're a girl, whether you're a guy, there's so many more opportunities now. Like, one of my friends is the digital reporter for the Philadelphia Flyers, and they are posting her on Instagram, Twitter. She's doing interviews as a rinkside reporter would. It's living on social, but it's getting so many views, and she's building her career a little bit different than maybe a traditional broadcaster would. But if she wanted to, in X amount of years, go the more traditional route, she now has a reel that lasts a lifetime of everything that she's done. So yeah, I would say meet people, work with each other. If you're a woman in sports, talk to each other, connect with each other. And yeah, there's a space for everyone. Like, I don't think it has to be competitive. I think that when we work together, much more can be accomplished. We're all on the same team.
So you've done a lot. You've been to a lot of places. I've been very fortunate with going to the Masters, the British Open, Major League Baseball, so World Series, Final Fours. Professor Mays sent me to an X Games. Had no idea what I was doing, but she sent me to an X Games. What's the one you got? What's the one you want to go to or need to go to?
The Olympics.
Okay.
LA 2028
Okay.
is what, yeah, I would love to go to the Olympics. I want to see the Olympic Village. I want to get a glimpse of what it's like. It's just a phenomenon that I don't think many people get to see. So if I can show some new sides of it, that would be really cool.
You have been so great all day today doing this, sitting down with some other students individually on a pretty busy schedule because you've got to be somewhere else in the next 8 minutes probably. I can't thank you enough for being the latest guest on What's Your Story. Katie Feeney, everybody.
Thank you, guys.